Hello, healers and health seekers. My name is Ichoda, and I am healing from chronic illness using the medical medium protocols. And today I thought I would answer a question that I have gotten a few times on my Instagram called that a question called. And that question is, how did you start? How did you start the medical medium protocols? And I will tell you, first of all, I need to say every body is different. So what works for my body is not necessarily going to be exactly what works for your body, but that doesn't mean that you can't modify things. You can always modify things to work for you. So I started slow. When I read the medical medium book at first, I didn't know if I could do any of it because my husband at that time was preparing all of my food. I could do one thing. I could make myself a smoothie. That was pretty easy for me. And I wasn't sure even if I would have enough energy or physical ability to stand in my kitchen and make the juice, the celery juice. But I decided that's how I was going to start. I was going to just start with that celery juice. I already wasn't eating a lot of the foods not to eat in the books. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to start with this celery juice. So what I did was I got up and I made that celery juice. I made it in my Vitamix and I strained it through a nut milk bag and I drank it, and my cells started to feel like awake in a way that they hadn't felt in a really long time. And I ended up having enough energy after that, in about a half an hour after that, or however long it was, to make my smoothie. And so I went ahead and made my smoothie. I had already been making a regular smoothie for myself for breakfast every day. And I did that. And so as the day went on and it was lunchtime after the smoothie, I noticed that I actually still had enough energy to make a salad for lunch. And so I made a salad for lunch. And I thought, this is crazy because I haven't had energy to do these basic tasks in a couple years, really. It had been a long time since I had had enough energy to stand in one day and continually, make different foods for myself. That was just sort of unheard of because I just didn't have the energy. But I did that day, so I did it. And lo and behold, at that time, my husband was coming home from work and making dinner in the evening, and so I didn't have to make dinner. He made dinner, and with the dinner, he made a big salad, and I think we had lamb or something. We were still eating meat at that time. And so I kind of found myself doing a very modified version of the cleanse without even sort of realizing that's what I was doing. And so for the first probably week, I think I probably was still eating meat at night. But during the day, I would have celery juice, and then I would have my smoothie, and then I would have a salad, and then I would, for dinner, have another salad, but with whatever my husband, also was making, probably meat. And eventually I stopped eating the meat, and I was like, I'm really doing this cleanse, so I'm going to do this cleanse. So I stopped eating the meat, and I would have just a salad for dinner, I think. And I would snack on fruit during the day. And I just found that my energy levels were consistently getting a little better, and I could do more, and I was starting to be able to shower more regularly, and I was starting to be able to make foods regularly, obviously, enough, foods for my son, and the brain fog started to lift, and it was feeling pretty amazing. So I kept going with the cleanse, and just eating lots of fruit. When I would get if I would get cravings or something, I would eat more fruit. I also at the time was doing medical medium on his website. If you have read his book, he has a healing path course that you can register for. It's free. And I was doing the healing path course along with the cleanse, and I was also on the Facebook all the time, the Facebook groups all the time. Medical Medium has a members only Facebook group. If you've read the book, again, it's free. Where at that time they were answering questions every week. I don't think they do that anymore, but there is still an archive of all the questions that have been answered that you can look up on that group. And there are other Facebook groups that where community members of the medical medium community reach out to each other and support each other and try to answer questions for each other and help each other along the path of doing the cleanses. So there's a lot more resources now, even than when I started 18 months ago. There's even more out there that you can get support and help. And I found the support incredibly helpful to keep going with it. And also just seeing my results was like, what? This is amazing. This is amazing, because I had not been able to do even the most basic tasks for myself in so long, that something that was making it possible was just miraculous, really. Okay, so I did the cleanse, my modified version of the cleanse for, a while. And I think the last week of the cleanse, I started bringing in cooked potatoes in the evening, and or sweet potatoes, mostly regular potatoes, and which is still a huge staple in our diet. We eat them all the time. And so that kind of slowed down the detoxing a little bit. And then after I stopped, or after I think I did the cleanse for maybe another couple of weeks that way, and then I started eating, I don't recommend this, by the way, this is just what I did, because honestly at the time I didn't realize that even though these foods are okay, that at least one of them was feeding strep. So which I have. So I brought in a lot of beans and rice because I hadn't had them in so long, and I was like, oh, I'm eating plant-based, these are plants and these are great. Now, there's nothing wrong with legumes. There really isn't anything wrong with them. They're just not a healing food. They don't have strong healing properties, so they're kind of a placeholder. Like they're neutral. They don't do anything one way or the other, but if you're trying to heal, obviously you want to bring in the most fruits and vegetables you can, because those are the healing foods, and herbs. And then the rice, however, this is what I'm talking about, was feeding the strep. And I just didn't click for even a year. I still ate rice. So I don't recommend doing that. If you're going to do the cleanse and you're going to start this lifestyle, if you have strep, I would just don't even bring rice back, because it's not going to help right now. 4 to 5 months into the cleanse, into this way of eating, because I wasn't doing the cleanse anymore. I was just eating a plant-based diet. So 4 to 5 months in, I kept the no foods out, but I was eating, rice and stuff. I did consult at that time. Again, Medical Medium had on his website a list of recommended practitioners, because he is no longer seeing patients right now because he's busy writing books to try to get the information out to as many people as possible. He had a list of practitioners that he had worked with extensively, have worked with him for many, many years, know all the protocols really well, and can answer, and also are highly intuitive themselves and can answer questions for people and help them with dosages and getting them on the right track as far as, starting out or supporting them as they go through their healing journey and things like that. So I did contact one of those practitioners. Her name is Carolyn Kavanaugh. And she helped me a lot, because at that time still I hadn't started the supplements, even 4 to 5 months in, and I wanted to, but I didn't quite know where to start. I was like, oh, I think I have so many things in the book, and do I focus on Epstein-Barr virus? Do I focus on strep? Like, what should I make my central focus as far as healing? And, what supplements do I start with? Because there's so many listed supplements that are possibilities, and I just wasn't sure what to do first. So she helped me. She knew what was going on in my body. She helped me understand. And I mean, I pretty much knew, but I just didn't quite know exactly what to do about it. So she really was stressed certain foods and certain teas that I should be drinking, and what supplements and what dosages and things like that. That really helped me kind of get on a specific track to really, take my healing to the next level. And about a year in, I finally figured out that rice was not something I should be eating, and it was feeding the strep, and I stopped. And also I stopped because I was still eating sushi, which our favorite kind was salmon sushi, and most sushi restaurants, their salmon is farmed. I mean, it's really, you can't find, because of the rules about sushi grades and things like that, about for serving to people, you literally cannot get wild salmon for sushi legally. It's weird. You can look into that yourself. I talked to fishermen, and I talked to sushi restaurants, and I talked to, actually my husband did, but at farmers markets, we would talk to the fishmongers, and they would all say the same thing. There are certain places where they feel that the farmed salmon is safer, but medical medium says farmed salmon, farmed fish is a no food, so just don't. But it sometimes takes a while to give up your favorite foods on earth, so and realize that is not really worth it, because it's not healing and it's not helping, and even a little bit is holding you back from your best healing. So I'm okay now. I've made peace with it. It's okay. So yeah. The other thing that I did during this whole process that I didn't mention before is in Medical Medium's first and second books, he talks at the end of the books, he talks about the healing angels and how important it is to talk to them and ask for their help and communicate with them on a daily basis. Make it a habit. And I have never been somebody who has prayed to angels or talked to angels, and I am not a religious person, and a lot of time angels are associated with religion, even though they're not necessarily. So it felt super weird to me to do that. But like I learned when I did personal growth work years ago, you don't have to believe something or agree with it or even think it's real to try it on. You can try it on, see how it works, if it works, and see what happens. So that's what I did. I thought, okay, I'm just going to try this on. If this is part of the whole thing, like the healing meditations were so easy for me. I can do that. I can look at a sunset. I mean, at the time that we were, I was a few months into the path, and we had started to travel. In the house where we used to live, there were birds and little animals to watch. We had bees, and so it was super easy to do bird watching and listen to bird song and watch the bees and just appreciate nature. And then when we started traveling, it was super easy to find sunsets and watch sunsets and watch the ocean waves, because we were traveling down the left coast. And it was beautiful, so beautiful. So that was really super helpful for me. It was easy to do the meditations, but the angels did not come naturally to me, and it was not easy, and I felt so super silly at first, laying in my bed at night, asking the angel of faith for faith, and asking the unknown angels for healing, and asking the angels of sleep and dreams for restorative sleep, and on and on. I actually made a printout for myself of the lists of all of the life-changing angels to keep next to my bed, so that I could remember who to ask for what, because it's hard to keep it all straight. So I have a printout next to my bed. This is my printout. No, it's hard to see. I have put it in these plastic sheet protectors There's 4 pages because I made a whole list, the document of all the angels that I am aware of that Anthony has mentioned. And there are times though when I, during the day, if I couldn't remember the angel, I would just make one up and hope that the right one got my message. Or I would just call on the unknown angels because they're super powerful. It was really weird at first talking to the angels, but it got more comfortable over time. And over time, I really actually started to feel that they were in fact working for me and that they were helping. And I then began to pray for other people as well. Like, okay, well, if this works, then I'm going to ask them to help my friends. And actually, I did that from the beginning too, is I would ask for help from my friends and I would ask for help from my family. And with my relationships and anything, like anything that anything was, I tried to practice asking. And it got to the point where I wasn't just asking at night, I was asking during the day too. And any time that something would come up or I would need help or feel like I can't quite do this on my own. And part of the asking actually would just help me to refocus and reframe and think for a minute and breathe and just breathe. So I have actually found it to be of great benefit to talk to the angels and to ask for help. And I never thought I would talk about it publicly because I was always so like, what? This is so not my thing. But I really feel like it was an effective part of my healing. And so I think that it was important to start talking to the angels, as well as doing the foods and the meditations and making sure you get sunshine on your face when you can. As you can see from my face right now, I have not gotten a lot of sunshine lately. It is very dark where we are and it is crazy insanely cold, and I'm not going out there into that cold. And I miss the sunlight. I'm having a hard time a little bit with the lack of it. But the rest of it I'm doing. That is how I got started. And I really do recommend, I kind of filled my Instagram feed with other people who were doing medical medium stuff because it helped me stay the course. It helped me keep going and it helped me be inspired and see that I'm not doing this alone and that other people are healing and that this is going to work. Because even while you're doing it, there's so much that we're indoctrinated to believe as far as health and healing that we have to unlearn it and let it go as we're healing. And that takes time. That just takes time. It takes time to build faith and trust and confidence in something. Even though you're seeing results from it, it's still like, but this isn't what everybody else does. So it can be hard sometimes to be like, am I doing the right thing? Like, and then if you have a flare, which you will, because that's how healing works, and it doesn't just go in like a steady incline. A lot of times it's kind of like a roller coaster, and you can take, Anthony always says, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, and that happens. You can find yourself, even after a couple of years of healing, you can find yourself sometimes like, oh my gosh, feeling like horrible and having a big flare and stuff like that. But the good news is after you have been healing for a while, you realize that those flares are temporary and that they will pass. Whereas before, if you were sick all the time and you had a flare of your symptoms, you thought, okay, this is it. This time I'm going to die, right? I know I did. I thought, it's just going to get bad and worse and worse and worse, and eventually it's just going to take me, I thought, or worse, it wouldn't take me and I would just have to physically live like that forever. That's what I thought my future was before. I don't think that anymore. I know that it's not true. I know that I'm healing, and that's the difference. I have hope, I have faith, I have trust, and those things did not exist in my world before. At least I had only the tiniest hope of having hope is what I had when I was my sickest. And my worst flare day now The worst I have possibly ever felt. Now, still better than my best day then. No lie. Not exaggerating. That is the honest truth. So, I hope I answered the question. That is how I started. And it came all a little at a time. I felt a little bit of hope with that first few days of having energy. I thought, okay, maybe this is something I can do. I mean, it was just literally one step at a time, one day at a time, one action at a time, and all of it over time changed, and I still tweak things and change things as needed. I'm so much more in touch with my body now and my needs. Like what my body asks for, I can really hear it now. Most of the time, I'm not perfect, but I'm so much more in touch with it. It's easier to remember all of the things I have to do. You know, I used an app called Habitica, which I love. It's a habit forming app, and it's a role-playing game app all in one. And it's a fun little app where you take your daily lists and the things, the habits you want to create, and your list of to-do, and there's 3 columns, and you put them in the app, and eventually habits become dailies. And you get points for everything you do. You get points in the game. You can buy little armor for your little icon guy, and you go on quests. You can actually friend other people in the game and go on quests, and it's really fun. But it's a really fun way to develop habits, and I used Habitica to help me remember when to take my supplements and make sure I had taken each one every day. I used it to help me remember to do the healing path and to, you know, bring these habits in, the things I wanted to do every day. Because, you know, when you have brain fog, especially at first, and I had so much brain fog, it takes a while. It takes a while to build things into your routine and make them part of your daily life. And now they're part of my daily life, and I don't even really think about it very much. It's very automatic for me to do. But again, 18 months. It's been 18 months, so that took time. So just remember, be easy. Be easy on yourself. Have compassion for yourself. Know that you're gonna get there, and you're learning, and it's a journey, and you're gonna heal. You're healing. So that is my story of how I started. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button below. It really helps my channel. Please subscribe if you haven't. I try to post new videos regularly. I don't have a specific schedule yet, but I'm trying to post 2 a week. I wish the greatest health for you, all of you. I love you. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll talk about them in a future video. Thank you. Goodbye.